What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Body Slam Net. We are here once again, and this time we're here for another exciting episode. This time we're here with Griff Briggs, the COO of SRG Universe. And what's up, Griff? How are you? Thanks for coming out.
Man, thanks. I'm doing great tonight. Love to be here. Excited to be here. Excited for upcoming weekend for sure.
I was going to get into what SRG is, but I figured who better to speak about it than the COO himself. So, what is SRG Universe? Before we get into the specific reason why you're here today.
Yeah, so SRG Universe is a game publishing and game creating company. So board games, card games, things like that. Our flagship game is Supershow the game. It's a wrestling card game. We like to call it an unpredictable card game because it features a dice as well as cards.
And I just jumped right into it, too, because I'm excited to talk about this. But I am Dom Mallon, so I'm happy to be here with you. And I'm here with co-host of the evening, Mr. Mike Butler of our brother show, The Jabronis.
Yes, I'm taking my jabroni cap off for a night and putting the interview one on. So I'm real excited about it.
Sorry about that, brother. I kind of just jumped right into it. You have any...
You do it a lot.
You have anything to say before we jump into it?
I'm as a game fan, like video games, all that kind of stuff, card games, all that. I'm just excited to talk to you, Griff. I'm real pumped about the new game and all that.
And the new game that we're talking about right now is called Supershow the game, correct?
Right. Yeah. Actually, we've been around since 2014. We started way back then, kind of underground, and went to our first Kickstarter back in 2014. Had one every year since. Been extremely successful on all those. Branched into comic books based off our game this past year, and looking forward to another great year in 2022.
You're right. I apologize. The new series that's coming out for the game is being unveiled this Saturday at a show that yourself and the missus put together, Winter Wars, correct? And that's happening.
Right.
If you're in the Philly, Jersey area, it's in Westville, New Jersey. At where's the venue at for that?
It's a super crazy wrestling venue. It's 2030. I think it's Delville Avenue in Westville, New Jersey. But it's super crazy wrestling venue. You can find all their information on their Facebook as well as our Facebook, New South's Facebook. It's all over the place there. So it's about 10 minutes from downtown Philly. So just a hop, skip, and a jump across the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. And for those who are unfamiliar or who are wondering, what the hell is this wrestling game, this Super Show game? Can you try to break it down for us a little bit and explain what it is that we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys are familiar with wrestling, which I hope all of us here are, our card game is basically a wrestling match. It's going to simulate every single thing you can do in wrestling right on the tabletop, in your kitchen table, in the floor, kind of wherever you want to break it out. So what it is each player chooses a competitor. We have over 400 competitors in the game. That's from indie wrestlers, Rob Van Dam, Sami Callihan, and on. Our own creations, as well as our fan-created wrestlers. So you get to pick one wrestler, and you make a deck of 30 cards. In that deck of 30 cards, you have maneuvers, moves that you would find in any wrestling match, and then you have 3 unique finishes for each competitor that you chose. And the object of the game is to play a lead, a follow-up, and then play your finish. And as we know in wrestling, you pin someone, submit them, you take your die that we have in Super Show, and you're going to give that a roll at the very end once you hit your finish and try to hold your opponent down for the 3 count. They got 3 chances to break out. If they don't break out, you've won the match. And the cool thing about it is you can find all of our cards, all of our competitors on supershowthegame.com. And you can buy individual cards there. So you don't have to go hunting for packs or anything like that to pick it up. You can buy a 2-player set and be playing within minutes.
So that's cool. So it's not like it's an intricate thing where there's a board where you got to break it out and have all these game pieces. It's something that you can just go on the go with. And as long as you have 2 people, you're good to go.
Yeah, throw it in your pocket and you're good to go.
Now, well, do you ever have like convention style type meetups where you have people bringing their game sets and have versus head-to-head type events like that?
Yeah, so we were a sponsor of Gen Con 50 a few years back. We've been in Gen Con pretty much every year since our inception. This last year had a gigantic booth there. We're at Origins, one of the other big game conventions. We're actually at PAX Unplugged this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And of course, this Saturday is our wrestling show. But in addition to the conventions, we actually threw our very own convention back in 2019. We had about 150 Super Show players from across the U.S., fly into Cincinnati, Ohio to take part in playing Supershow for 3 straight days. But the other cool thing is you don't have to be in person. In fact, the 3 of us could sit down and have a game of Supershow right here online.
And how does that work? Is there a virtual thing set up on the website, or is it just that easy when you have the game to basically just play with anybody anywhere, and you don't really need to have it in front of you?
Yeah, it's that easy, right? You and I have our own separate decks. We have our own separate die. If I film my play area, you can see exactly what I'm doing. And, the whole thing about Super Show is it's a fun time, right? Just like wrestling is, it's fun to watch. And whether your favorite wrestlers is winning that night or getting beat, when you're playing Super Show, whether you're winning or losing, you're having a fun time. So there's not really a worry among our players of, oh, the die didn't get rolled right, or, oh, this guy put this card back in the deck. Nothing like that. It's just a great time. And in fact, we defend all of our championships. We have real championship belts for all of our various different categories of play, and they're defended online as well.
That's right up this one's alley right here.
It really is. I mean, I'm not good at it, but yeah, that's absolutely up my alley. So, Griff, I was curious. You mentioned some of the wrestlers that are featured in this game. What's the process in getting them to be a part of it? Do you have to go through like a rights type of thing with the company that they work for, or?
Yeah, so it's kind of all the above, right? One of the things we're doing in New South is we're working with a promotion. We've done that before with MLW. We sponsored MLW's draft and worked with them to bring out Alex Hammerstone, Jacob Fatu, Davey Richards, and La Parca, And we also work individually with wrestlers. And the process is pretty simple and pretty easy. One of my big philosophies is it's always a no unless you ask. So we leverage our relationships that we've made over the years, back from House of Glory days when we were signing Amazing Red and Ricochet and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. We leverage those relationships we've made over the years to have our good name out there, and people want to come work with us. And at the same time, the internet is an amazing place. Instagram and Twitter have really allowed a lot of wrestlers from across the country to book themselves and promote themselves. And a lot of times I sit down and watch some AEW Dark, checking out the new upcoming talent, IWTV, watch a little bit of that to find who's the next big thing that's going to break. And a lot of times I reach out directly to them and say, hey, you want to be a part of Super Show the game? We work out that contract between us and them. And, the worst they can do is tell me no. And then I'm in the same exact position I am now. So it's actually a really easy process.
Do you get any pushback, like, ever? Or, like, does anyone say no? Because it seems like a very cool thing to be a part of. I can't imagine if they can do it.
So most of the no's that I get are mostly due to contractual obligations. And, anyone that really has that owns their own name and likeness is pretty much available. And, it's a great merchandising piece for all of our wrestlers. I was just looking the other day, Danny Limelight, at one of his autograph signings. On the table, you could see Danny Limelight's competitor set from us sitting on the table. And so it's really just another little piece that they can sell and a piece that they can use to bring their name up. And we provide a lot of that stuff to them for free, just because we want to support our wrestlers. We want to take care of our independent talent and our talent so that they can keep doing what they love doing. We can keep enjoying it.
Nice.
That's so awesome. I want to focus on that. I don't want to just glance over that because just what you said, a lot of the game pieces and a lot of the cards that are part of the game are specific wrestler cards. You have their name on there, their image, that you work with them, you have it going. And I think that's so awesome that you don't even really take from them. You just put them out there it's mutually beneficial, obviously, but that's so important to know because, now more than ever, I think people want to invest in people who invest in others. That's how they want to spend their money and putting it out there. So, especially now with COVID, these are the kind of games that you find, kids like, but adults like too. It's not just something for any one specific genre or age group. And so anybody listening, like these are the types of people that you want to invest your money in. And you put it back into the business in more ways than one, obviously by promoting people in your cards, but also let's talk about Winter Wars, because this is something that you guys have going, and it's more than just a wrestling show. Like you said, you have a lot going on at that show. But for the card itself, the wrestling card, who are some of the wrestlers that people in the Philly area or from anywhere in the drivable area that want to come out and see? Who can they expect to see?
So, the card is pretty jam packed, and I gotta admit I'm a huge fan of all the New South guys because I'm down here in the South, so it's just a couple hours drive for me to get down to see them. And I love hanging out with those guys. They put on a fantastic show. There's a lot of great talent that's going to be on there. Adam Priest, who's wrestled on AEW Dark, is from New South. He's going to be on there. He's wrestling, and I've been told several different times it's either a very good professional wrestler, which I think that's exactly who he is. But there's some contention that he may just be Avery Good, a professional wrestler. But he's taking on Adam Priest. That'll be a great time. Derek Neal, who's a monster of a man down from the Kentucky area, is taking on Blank. One of my favorites, and my daughter's favorite, is Kinsey Paige Henry. She's wrestled on a lot of NWA and AEW Dark, but she is the one half of the tag team champions at New South with Pretty Empowered, and it's a female tag team, and they're taking on Jordan Oliver and Young Gunman Broke. So it'll be an intergender tag team match, two females against two males. That's probably the highlight of my show, if I can really point out the match that I'm most looking forward to. And then Cabana Man Dan, who is just a ring veteran. I mean, he's been around forever. He's traveling around a lot. He's getting a lot of bookings across the country. He's taking on, I believe it's Boomer Hatfield, if I'm right. Bell's giving me the thumbs up in the background here, who's really the brains behind this entire operation. That'll be great. And then you can't forget that to cap the whole event off, there's going to be a Royal Rumble, over the top Royal Rumble. So, you're going to get a huge card with a lot of great matchups, and then you're going to have a sweet over the top 30-person, I believe is what it is, over the top Royal Rumble. And that is going to be the highlight of my night. I love the Rumble. I love the Rumble more than I do WrestleMania. And I probably might get some hate for that, but the Rumble is awesome.
My man, you came to the right place.
I'm the same way.
Both of us. And every year we make a big deal for the Rumble. I have a big Rumble lottery or draft, which just gets higher stakes every year. But I agree, man. I like having a party for the Rumble. And you know what? Because it's so fun for friends of yours that don't care about wrestling. They just want to come over, hang out, and get involved in something. And even for them, especially if they have a little money involved in it, it's always fun to just instantly get invested in 3 or 4 random people and watch the show. How did you and the missus get involved with booking shows? When did this start?
Man, I mean, so I am not one of the co-founders. I'm one of the co-owners. I'm just joined SRG Universe along with Bell in 2020, actually. We found the game in 2018 at Gen Con. And I'm a big tabletop gamer. Okay. I was not the wrestling fan in our family. Bell was 100%. And I found this game, and let me tell you, they had a guy, a wrestler out front that was flagging people in, and the hype, the fun that was being had hooked me immediately. And so I brought her involved, and Belle had originally been streaming on a platform, doing some video game streaming, things like that. And so between the pageantry and the fun of wrestling and her online abilities, we kind of put that together. And throughout 2019, we really helped to drive SRG into the online world where we can play games online. I commentated matches, just like you'd have a wrestling match. I sat behind a little digital desk and commentated wrestling matches with cards and dice. And so that ended up with us joining SRG Universe as owners in 2020. And so from then, Belle has really been looking for the next step of where to go. And while I focus on the operations of the business and all that, she has a lot of creative mind behind doing all this. And we had met Dump Sanders and the guys from New South Pro Wrestling at a convention in Huntsville. And just like my motto of, it's always a no, we had a guy come up, say, hey, come to this wrestling show. And had he not put that flyer in my hands that day and bought a box set and talked about how fun it was, I don't know if we'd be sitting here talking, because I took Belle to a 2-hour drive. I said, let's go watch New South Wrestling. And she loved it. I loved it. We've been back several times, took the kids back. And the atmosphere was so much fun that she ended up making a close relationship with Dump Sanders, one of the owners and GMs of New South. And we had the opportunity to throw a show and promote a show and put it on. And she said, let's reach out to Dump. And Dump was like, man, I'm all in. Let's go. And so her and Dump have coordinated this, and really, I'm just the mouthpiece for her work that's being done.
That's awesome, and I love that you give her due as well, and you're not just sitting there talking about we. It's you must have said 3 or 4 times this is her brainchild. She does.
Yeah.
So it's always good to see where proper props are given to the strong woman behind the man.
That's right. That's right.
Now, you said that she's kind of the one that brought you into wrestling in general, right?
Yeah.
Who were some of your favorites, or at least when you got into wrestling, who were some of the wrestlers that first brought you in?
So I'll tell you, the only wrestling experience I had back in the day was WCW versus NWO on N64.
Okay.
And I played it religiously, right?
Nice.
And my favorite, I loved the flock. I used to play Briggs and Sick Boy and Raven and all that. I loved it. And Raven's a good inside joke for our community because Raven is actually, his art's coming along eventually, and Raven will eventually be in our game
Awesome.
as we square the art down to his liking. And then I remember distinctly watching a WCW match where Rey Mysterio got he lost his mask.
Yep.
And I had begged my parents, to please let's buy this pay-per-view. It's such an amazing moment. And then once WCW left, I kind of left that world behind. But Belle, her father, and her were watching every WrestleMania. Watching the WWF, the WWE then, and so that was really her passion. And once I saw this game, I was like, this has got to be it. So, now though, I am schooled in wrestling, and I have been to a bunch of wrestling shows, and I love it. I love the art behind it, the talent, the pageantry. Some of my favorites currently, Sami Callihan, a great performer, a good buddy that I talk to quite a bit, and is a big fan of Supershow. He's got 2 competitors in the game, maybe 3 now at this point in time. He was our first world champion. And then I still love Orange Cassidy. I went to a GCW show at Nashville with Belle, and he was wrestling Effie. I love Orange Cassidy. She immediately fell in love with Effie. And so Effie is now in Supershow. I went out and reached him, and Effie is also hands down one of my favorites. He came to Origins with us. We hung out with him. Our fans got to hang out with him, get his card signed. Just fantastic guy. Madman Fulton from Impact, also another wonderful guy. Love working with him. He was Belle's tag team partner at Origins, and so
Nice.
if you come to one of our shows, there's a high likelihood that you're going to meet a professional wrestler that's going to be there. When we had our own convention, Brian Cage, Sami Callihan, Tyler Breeze, and Sean Spears were all there, all playing Supershow with our fans.
Very cool.
And so that's kind of those are my favorites right now that I really try to follow. And then, of course, Effie's life, right?
I was waiting for that comment to come in.
Yeah, Effie is amazingly talented and just a good guy, at heart. And he really loves Supershow. Ivelisse joined us at Gen Con. She was a blast to hang out with. She had a blast playing Supershow. Great time with her as well. I could go on, but really, I love the hustle of all the guys who are on the independent scene, and it's getting harder and harder for me to call it the independent scene because of how big wrestling has become during the pandemic. With eyes turning to AEW, and with all those eyes that are getting on, guys and gals who are wrestling with GCW, Beyond Wrestling, New South, Catalyst Wrestling. It seems like it's just exploding. MLW, can't forget them. NWA. So I really find it hard to call it indie wrestling now. Now it's just wrestling.
It's so true. And like you said earlier, when you talk about, who's the new talent, well, just go on YouTube and watch AEW Dark or Dark Elevation. In addition to the millions of different platforms that you have to find all of this wrestling all over the nation, all over the world. Fight TV has, I can't tell you how much, different, how many different independent streams and things going on. The independent shows, the intimate vibe of an independent show, so much more family friendly, more homey, I feel like, than even a WWE show sometimes. And WWE kind of prides itself on being the family friendly type stuff, but you go to those independent shows, and even when you get the people that are being a little crass, it seems like everybody who's there is there for the purpose of just the vibe of being at a wrestling show, being there together, everybody being in agreement that they're there to appreciate something that they like that kind of gets made fun of outside the walls sometimes.
Right.
And I think that's why it's such a beautiful blend with what SRG has going on with the gaming side of it, because to a certain extent it's a similar vibe.
No,
And
absolutely.
there's so much crossover, and when you can literally embrace the crossover, um, it's just exciting. I don't know. Sorry, I'm at a loss for
No, I mean,
words right now. But
you're exactly spot on. I mean, I've been to a WWE show. I've been to several different other shows, bigger to smaller, and I had fun. I had fun at all of them. But when you can sit, on the third row, and the third row is almost touching, I mean, there's something to be said about that venue and that vibe that just brings you closer to ever than the art form that is wrestling. And yeah, I think if you look outside, you say to people, oh, that's silly, that's fake. But I mean, I'm a pretty fit guy, but I'm not about to go into a wrestling ring and get dropped off a ladder on my head and take some of the bumps that these guys do, to entertain people. And so I love that. I love that about it. It's amazing. We went to a New South show, and my daughter, who's 8, she's a big Sasha Banks fan, loves to watch that, but wasn't really sure she was going to didn't really want to go to a show. She was kind of like, this is going to be lame. And I have videos from like the second match in of her on the chair, booing till her voice is hoarse, the heels of the event. And then Kinsey Page comes out, and she's, cheering on this powerful female wrestler. And then what's even better is after the show, not because of our connections with New South, but just because of how much they care for their fans. My daughter is able to meet Kinsey and give her a hug, and that means so much to families and kids and the future generations of wrestling fans. You're not gonna, in 20 years, when my daughter's a grown adult, maybe with kids of her own, she's gonna look back and remember all that. And that's what these independent shows do. And really, that's what we try to emulate with our card game and the community that we have. We're the LFF, which is the Legendary Fighting Federation. I mean, everybody that plays our game, when you join and buy a pack of cards and make a deck, you're a member of that community, and you're a member of that promotion. So, that's the intimacy that we love too.
I love it. And one thing I got to ask in doing my research on you, and Brian Schmidt in the comments mentioned it too. Why do they call you the Law?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah. So, take a bump. Yeah, I can't. I jumped the top rope at Dragon Con. That's another story for another day. And we have to go back and redesign my card in the game. So back originally when we first got into Supershow back in 2018. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Schmidt. So back when we got into 2018, the wife and I went over and met the community, and they immediately embraced us, gave us some extra cards to play. And there's a gentleman named Patrick Mulligan. Huge props to him. And probably really, he was one of the key figures in the reason why I'm here, the reason why the company is the way it is now. And when we were playing, I was having so much fun. And just the energy that we had, the energy that Belle and I had together, they said, would you guys want to shoot a promo? And yes, absolutely, I would love to. And so I was the LEO, which stands for Law Enforcement Officer. So I became Leo the Law, right? Leo the Law Enforcement Officer, the Law. And so back then, some lost footage that is now hopefully completely scrubbed from existence. There is a Leo the Law promo from back then. So once we started getting into the online arena, which is where we started commentating on, when I started commentating on matches, I became the LEO, aka the Law, aka the best damn commentator, period. And so that was my tagline. I had a bunch of AKAs and went through that a long time. And so now that, as Brian Schmidt had commented, I'm the LEO, aka the Law, aka the best damn COO ever. And he referred to Mustache Law because the original Law competitor card, I'm going to be real, wasn't that good. He wasn't that good. He was not top tier. However, Law grew a mustache for a period of time, and the fans wanted Mustache Law. So my original competitor card got upgraded. The only difference is he's a little bit better in the what the gimmick, which in his finishes, but we just drew a little bitty mustache on his car.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, that's it. A totally different guy. So mustache law is out and about. So also, if you look at my card, he has an agility 5. And the reason why he has an agility 5 is because every single competitor has to have a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Most people that know me know that I'm very agile. I am not a 5 agility. I'm probably a 10. And I proved that at Dragon Con Wrestling when, without too much practice, I cleared the top rope in our intro for Dragon Con Wrestling. So, if the CEO, Steve Rest, my partner, is watching, we need to probably redesign law, give him a little bit. He needs 10s in everything, really, to be honest. But you got to keep the game fair, I suppose.
I love it. Now, you've been traveling all over the place to promote this and just going to shows. What are some of your favorite places to travel to?
I say that my favorite place in the entire world is anything in the South. I think the South is, I'm from here, so I love it down here. I love the food. I love everything about it. But honestly, every year the pilgrimage that I love to make is to Indianapolis, to Gen Con every year. It's amazing. It's kind of where Belle and I went on our honeymoon. So it's really the pilgrimage we love to go. And that I look forward to that every single year.
Nice.
And going and spend time with everybody. It's our biggest show. We had the most players come. I mean, it's a huge convention. And then, of course, Belle and I enjoy New York. Our partners are based out of New York. We're based remotely. So we like to go up and visit them and go spend some time in New York City there. And then if I had to plug anything in the Supershow community, it's got to be Cleveland. They have probably I'm going to get killed by the Northeast for saying this, but they have probably one of the best promotions in Supershow. They have Rust Belt Wrestling in Supershow, and they put on a fantastic event every time they do it. And I really enjoy going up there and hanging out with those guys. And that's kind of I've traveled everywhere though.
And that's the one that you just said it there. That's the one that had over 150 players there playing. Is that correct, or is that a different one?
So that was in Cincinnati.
I'm sorry.
No. The interesting thing about Cincinnati is at the time we threw the show in Cincinnati, we did not have an active play group in Cincinnati. We picked Cincinnati because it was kind of in the middle of all of our play groups.
Okay.
And it's our first convention. We wanted to see how many people would travel to a city that doesn't have Supershow to just play Supershow, and it was a resounding success. And unfortunately, COVID got us in 2020. We weren't able to put on the second one. We did it virtually instead, and didn't have one in 2021. But my goal is to put forth another convention and with a bunch of awesome wrestling talent showing up to hang out with our fans. So if you're a fan of wrestling, if you get involved in Supershow, be on the lookout for when we do have one of those conventions, because you never know who will show up.
Beautiful. And obviously, hopefully, the whole COVID thing is on its way behind us, and you're going to get back to the conventions. But that's kind of the beauty of this game, is just like you mentioned previously. I mean, even if, God forbid, we're back in it, this is one of the few things that everybody can embrace that's different, but a little bit of a throwback to, back when you were younger, before everybody had a cell phone in their hand, but at the same time, in a new way that the technology can make even better. Mike, do you have any questions you want to ask for the man? I know we're trying to keep it to about a half hour, but
yeah, I have one more question, and it's very broad, but we can have some fun with it.
Okay.
If there was one wrestler who has yet to appear for Supershow, who's your top goal to get into the game?
It's tough. That's tough. Selfishly, it's Orange Cassidy, right? I mean, if I had to say it for myself, that's exactly who it is. But as a wider appeal, I'll give you another one. That's MJF. I love his promo work. I love everything about him. Yeah, Raven would be fantastic when we get his art finished. And those are my two top tier. Orange Cassidy and MJF would be just for my pure selfish fan reasons. I know that our community would love to see, it's hard. They love to see pockets of their own people. So if I could say what I'd want to have a local promotion, the entire promotion, and wherever you're from. That's my goal. Working with Catalyst Wrestling out of the New York area, hopefully bringing their promotion to Supershow, just like we're doing New South. And I've gotten some emails recently from some other local promotions. So, really, it's about I would love to embrace the regional, local promotions and give those guys and wrestlers and gals and that are working those promotions and working that circuit something tangible to play, so their fans have guys to be able to play with at home and continue that wrestling experience when they're not running shows. And heaven forbid if the pandemic gets bad again, where some promotions start have to canceling shows, I want their fans to be able to continue experiencing that promotion locally with them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Griff, thank you so much for joining us. Thank Belle in the background too for all the work that she's done. Everybody, make sure that you head over to supershowthegame.com to check out what we've been talking about and see for yourself how there she is. See for yourself what you've been missing out if you're not already a member. Also, make sure you follow them on social media at SRG Universe. And if you are in the Philly area, the Jersey area, or you like a long drive, head out to Westville, New Jersey this Saturday, where they're going to be doing Winter Wars Rumble, the show that they put out, and where they're going to be unveiling some new cards. Is it a new set for the?
Yeah. So Belle is actually our lead graphic design for the company. So this is actually
God, Belle, is there anything you don't do?
Doing everything.
She does. The biggest thing she does is keep me on track. That's the biggest thing that she keeps me focused. I lose stuff and misplace things all the time and forget all the time. So she does it all. She's a woman of wonder. So yeah, the New South Brawl set that's coming out December 11th. The only way to get a copy and guarantee a copy is in your hands. If you go to the show, or if you go to a New South show any point after this, they'll have some copies of that as well. But they'll come with 6 New South competitors. It comes with Adam Priest, Kinsey Page, Henry, Cabana Man Dan, Derek Neal, Dump Saunders, and Kung Fu Donnie Janela. So it comes with all 6 of their competitors. It comes with 2 decks of cards, and 2 dice and a crowd meter. So everything anybody needs to play, it'll come in that box set. You can pick up you can go to the show at the door. It's $20 to get in for general admission, $30 for the early access at 6 o'clock for the meet and greet. And you can spend $50 for the VIP access. Gives you first and second row seats. We'll give you a free copy of the box set. And then you get access to the early meet and greet as well. So you can show up at 6, get your box set, bust it open, and have the guys and gals sign your set right there in front of you.
Nice.
And then, of course, if it's too far for you to go, some great new announcement that we've had I think a couple of days ago we learned is that we will be live streamed on IWTV. So if you're subscribed to IWTV, we will be live that Saturday night. So even if you can't make it to the show, be sure to check in, show New South some love, as well as all the wrestlers that are coming out and make it a great time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Congratulations to you guys for getting that additional outlet to be able to plug your brand. So we'll wrap it up, but thank you so much again for jumping on to bodyslam.net. This has been another episode. Make sure you catch us at bodyslam.net for all your breaking news. Head over to our Twitter, bodyslamnet. You can catch this guy over here at the Jabronis. You also have myself with the Hefe himself, Cassidy Haynes, on the push, and a host of other shows that we have over on our YouTube. If you're not following us on YouTube yet, please do so at BodySlamNet. Make sure you subscribe, and you'll catch all kinds of great new things that we have coming out in the future. But Griff, thank you so much again, man, and best of luck to you and the missus this Saturday. And I can't wait to get my own copy of the game soon, and then break it out and start beating the crap out of you with it.
No change.
All right, so thanks, man. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.